Hey guys, and welcome back. My name is Tess and this is the Grimoire Archivist. So today I'm actually going to be doing a ironic kind of video for you. A few weeks ago I posted what I called my winter book haul. It was just an accumulation of all the books that I bought over the winter, and I posted it rather stupidly at the beginning of the month because I'd already reached my book quota and I didn't want to buy anymore, and I thought uploading that video would kind of like help create a barrier so that I didn't feel stupid by uploading another video only a few weeks later about my August book haul because I decided to go out and buy more books. This is my August book haul. Yes, it didn't work. So anyway, I bought 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 books this month. Not including what I've already ordered and bought in the winter book haul, and there's more books that have been ordered that I'm waiting for them to come, but I'm not going to include them because I technically haven't paid yet. They're just ordered. Anyway, okay, moving on. So the first book I got, I technically already own this book, but I don't have this edition. Now I ordered this edition because I wanted to pick up another book by this same author, and I wanted the editions to match. And that is The Night Circus and The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. These are beautiful, they line up very nicely, the editions are stunning, and I'm very excited. The Night Circus has been out for quite a few years now. I read it when it first came out and I really enjoyed it. I haven't read it since, so I'm not sure if it would still hold up, but this is a very magical, very lyrical, kind of vibey love story, a tale of the time, a tale across worlds and across different time frames from what I remember. And yes, so I really enjoyed that. I have not read A Starless Sea, but from my understanding about it, we're talking magic, again, that same magical, lyrical kind of writing of Erin Morgenstern's, and we have a kind of like a fantasy library, and yes, lots of fantastical elements. I believe there is a mysterious book and a quest to find the said library, and a lot of mystery and kind of mystery and intrigue a little bit in this. But yes, The Starless Sea is the other book that I got, and it is beautiful with all my little bumblebees on them. Love it. So those were the first two books I read. The first two books that I picked up. The next book that I picked up was a book by an Australian author called Sydney Koo. This book is a YA and it is called The Spider and Her Demons. This book sounds phenomenal. It is on my September TBR, so I'm very excited to be jumping into it. We follow a young girl who is half a spider demon who is trying to hide it from the world. It is supposed to be a coming of age. She discovering and staying true to who she is, and coming to terms with that. It sounds very interesting. It's very intriguing. Sydney Koo seems like a brilliant author, and I really love all of their work so far. I've been following them on Instagram and stuff like that, so I'm very excited to dive into this world that they've created. The next book that I bought is actually being made into an Apple TV show, which I'm very excited about, and that is Lessons in Chemistry. This is a gorgeous copy, a nice little floppy paperback. I love a floppy paperback. A literary fiction novel that I bought to kind of read in between all of my epic fantasies. There's a few. Yes. Anyway, Lessons in Chemistry follows our main character as she can no longer work at the research institute where she works as a scientist, and instead signs on rather reluctantly to be a cooking show host. In this book, I believe that she draws on her scientific knowledge to further make this show spark and have its own unique personality, and so yeah, it sounds phenomenal, it sounds amazing. This book is also on my September TBR. And I'm very excited to read further about it. If it's a good book, I'm very excited to add it to my TV show that I want to watch list. I'm not a big TV show person, but I love a good show anyway. I'll go through the standalone novels that I bought, and then I'll go into the series because I did buy a complete series. The next book that I bought, which I'm currently reading right now as I'm filming this, is Brandon Sanderson, Tress of the Emerald Sea. So this is the Australian paperback cover. I posted a TikTok on this and a few people said that they didn't actually recognise this cover, which was really interesting to me. This is a standalone novel by Brandon Sanderson, who of course wrote The Way of Kings and the Mistborn sagas. He's an incredible writer. This book is supposed to be somewhat of a reimagining of The Princess Bride, but if Wesley was kidnapped and Buttercup was the pirate. This is actually incredible. I'm only maybe 1 or 2 parts in at the moment, and it's written very funny. I keep having a giggle. I really love our main character. I think she's hysterical. Tress is very funny. Her original name is even funnier. And our love interest Charlie is such an interesting character. It's really hooked me. I'm very much enjoying it, and it feels it's very whimsically written, very fun written, and it draws you in with enough interest and like intrigue and stuff like that as to the overwhelming world and surroundings and stuff. But also Tress is just so funny. There was a tiny little line in here, a little paragraph that made me giggle. Felt very much like a little bit of a call out to some pick me characters, and it was very interesting. I'm very much loving it, and I think it's really nice. It's a nice floppy paperback. But yes, so I got that one. I also picked up Mark Lawrence's new book. So this book is the first of a new trilogy that's coming out, and this is The Book That Wouldn't Burn. Don't know too much about this, but it's a library, books that won't burn, books that hold magical powers, books that can let you do things. I think that's really cool. The cover is really pretty. It's a nice big floppy paperback. I initially bought this thinking that it was a standalone. It is, however, the first book in a new trilogy that's coming out, which I'm not mad about. I didn't want to start a new series, but considering 2 and 3 are not out yet, and I will be keeping up to the release date, I'm actually more excited for it now. But yes, I'm very excited. If I'm being honest, the George R.R. Martin at the top, he wrote, you know how they have authors write little notes? Didn't really care, but Robin Hobb wrote one, and I love her. So The Book That Wouldn't Burn is the next book that I bought. I also picked up Babel by R.F. Kuang, an arcane history, also known as The Necessity of Violence. I'm very excited for this. This is a dark academia, knowledge is power, alternate universe in the 1830s, pursuit of knowledge, etc. Very exciting. It's a standalone book. I really enjoy R.F. Kuang's writing. I have the Poppy War here. I have not picked up Yellowface, but intend on doing that eventually. But yes, Babel is the next book that I picked up. The only other standalone book that I picked up, which I I used one of my credits on Audible to get the audio version because the author herself narrates it. So I picked up the Audible book as well as the book, and that is I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I'm not going to blabber too much about this book. I read it, I listened to it, I cried and sobbed and laughed my ass off, and sometimes cried and laughed at the same time simultaneously. This book is beautiful. I think it's very well written. I don't think it's what people genuinely expected it to be, and I think it puts a very realistic light on what people in these situations go through, what the lens of child abuse can look like, what eating disorders look like for different people. It's a hard book to read. And I'm very lucky in that a friend of mine and my sister also read this book, so I was able to unpack with them, as well as I watched Murphy Napier's video on it as well, where she kind of like spoke a little bit about it. It's a heavy book. It's a quick read. I read it in like less than a day because I listened to it on audiobook as well. I believe it's 6 hours. But yes, that's another book that I picked up this month. It is also, yes, a very difficult book. And finally, the last 4 books that I got are all part of the same series. I actually went shopping for the first book of this series and the first book of the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. However, the bookstores that I went to didn't have the first the Blade itself. They only had the second and the third book in that trilogy, but they did have the entire series of this first book that I was looking for. So I ended up getting the full series instead, and that is the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft. So they include Senlin Ascents, of the Sphinx, the Hod King, and The Fall of Babel. Now, the books of Babel follow our main character as he goes to this kind of prestigious tower, the one that's very well talked about and something that he spent his entire life researching on his honeymoon. On his honeymoon, and in the first couple of hours of them arriving, him and his wife end up losing each other, and so he goes on this journey to try and find her, and in doing so uncovers all of the secrets of this mystical, magical tower and the impact it actually has on the people around it, etc. The power, the corruption. It's very, very interesting. This was a book that has been on my TBR for quite a while, and indeed I found this through Peruse Project, through Reagan. Anyway, yes, I picked it up, started reading it in a cafe, really enjoyed it, put it down because I realised I was already halfway through a different book and I needed to finish that one first. But yes, so I got the Books of Babel series. Anyway, so that was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books this month. Okay, so I bought 11 books this month when I said I wouldn't buy any more, so yeah. Anyway, that was my August book haul, and I hope you enjoyed it.